The Bears have a 40% chance to receive the #1 overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, thanks to owning the Panthers' first-round pick that they traded for in the offseason. With that being said, Chris, should Fields take another snap for the Bears?
No. Put him in bubble wrap and wait until the offseason to trade him. Winning games for the Chicago Bears does nothing. Justin Fields being out there does nothing. It's not as if you're evaluating him. By virtue of beating the Carolina Panthers, you've essentially guaranteed yourself the #1 pick. He's not your quarterback. Matt Eberflus is not your coach. It serves you no purpose to put Justin Fields out to try to win games.
You know, not only do I agree with you, Chris Canty, I emphatically agree with you from the standpoint, if you're Justin Fields, you literally should not want to play another game. This is not a good organization. I understand that the new dude that they have at the GM spot, a brother, I wish him nothing but the best. He's not the one that drafted Justin Fields. He's not the one that hired Eberflus as the head coach. A matter of fact, if I recall correctly, Eberflus was hired 2 days after he was named the GM. So we've got to take that into consideration as well. It's not his team giving him an opportunity to build his own franchise. But secondly, and more importantly, when you look at Justin Fields right now, 6-25 career record as a starter, a QBR that's 37.6. This guy Badgett has a better QBR than him. People at 51.1, people are pointing that out, and they're saying, excuse me, we may need to move in a different direction. Well, guess what? Despite what you've given Justin Fields to work with, you're still trying to point the finger of blame and culpability in his direction. And that cold-ass city where you ain't winning and you got people coming out there freezing to death to watch this haphazard product. As far as I'm concerned, if I'm Justin Fields, I don't think about playing again. I want to get the hell up out of there. I'm hoping that they trade me to a more respectable franchise that's going to protect me and my interests moving forward into the future. If I'm the New York Jets, I try to get involved in the mix because Aaron Rodgers is not a long-term solution, but because we understand he's going to be back. But the bottom line is Zach Wilson damn sure ain't that dude. That's who they should have drafted. Instead, Justin Fields, they should have drafted him instead of Zach Wilson. So this is a chance for the Jets to make amends. Let Justin Fields come to New York City and let him learn under the stewardship of Aaron Rodgers for a year or so, and then after that, take over the helm. Because it damn sure ain't no Zach Wilson, and everybody knows it. Justin Fields shouldn't play another game for the Chicago Bears, and he should look forward to it. As far as I'm concerned, I'd go as far as, I don't want to sit up there and say fake injuries, but damn it, I'll say it. Fake it if you have to. Every injury is nagging and hurts a little bit more. Don't go out there. You don't need it. You don't need it.
And who needs to do more for their team Sunday to get a win? Is it Deshaun Watson or Lamar Jackson?
It's Lamar Jackson. I mean, the Cleveland Browns defense is the best defense in football, and we've got enough proof of concept. It doesn't matter who the starting quarterback is for them. They've found ways to be able to win games. They're in second place right now in the AFC North. So it's a situation for the Cleveland Browns where they know if their quarterback doesn't turn the ball over 4 times, like we saw in the previous matchup, they should be all right in terms of being competitive, whereas with the Baltimore Ravens, they're more dependent on Lamar Jackson to play make. They need Lamar to play at an MVP level, which is what we've seen so far through the first 9 games in order to have success. And this Cleveland defense the last time around didn't allow this Baltimore Ravens offense to have over 200 yards of total offense. It's the equivalent of pitching a shutout in baseball. That's how good Cleveland's defense is. Cleveland's defense can keep them in the game. Lamar Jackson, it's going to be up to him to be the difference and to get Baltimore on the right side of the outcome this Sunday.
You know, see, the beauty of working with somebody like you, right? See, what happens is that you're so brilliant, you don't understand when you're going up against brilliant thieves, such as myself. Because see, what happens is that I not just get to see you and what you say on the show, but I get to listen to you on the radio. First it was in New York, now it's nationwide and all this other stuff. And I'm watching you. And you just forget some of the things that you say because you say so much because you're all over the airwaves these days, Chris Canty. You see, I remember Chris Canty that was having a discussion weeks ago, and we were talking about how Deshaun Watson needed to step up. Deshaun Watson needs to really, really hold himself accountable and elevate his level of play. I think that was Chris Canty that I was listening to. I'm damn sure it wasn't somebody else. I don't confuse the voices now. I think it was Chris Canty that was talking about that Cleveland defense is real. That Cleveland defense is big time. I think it was Chris Canty that talked about how Nick Chubb was out. So damn, I mean, even though Kareem Hunt was on the team and then he was off the team and then he came back on the team after they lost Nick Chubb for the season, I thought it was Chris Canty that was saying Still comes down to Deshaun Watson because Myles Garrett and those brothers, they're going to do their thing, okay? Kevin Stefanski, he's not bad. He knows what he's doing. I think too. This ain't Baker Mayfield quarterback in the team anymore. This is Deshaun Watson. I think it was Chris Canty that even talked about that and reiterated that point when Peoples-Jones got moved up out of there. So what I'm saying is that Peoples-Jones is out there, but you still got a number one receiver in Amari Cooper, okay? And I think it was also Chris Canty not only knew that Deshaun Watson was making $230 million guaranteed, not only knew that was the largest contract in NFL history, not only pointed out that there was incentives added to the $230 million that could bump it up to $246 million. I mean, that was Chris Canty that pointed those things out. But yeah, he's sitting here right now this morning, and he's saying, yo, it's Lamar Jackson. Nah, it ain't Lamar Jackson. It's Deshaun Watson. He got to show up because Lamar Jackson has been showing up, leading the league in completion percentage and rushing from the quarterback position. What the hell is Deshaun Watson doing? Not much. He's got to do it. Chris Canty also said that.
Well, Stephen A., that's why I love you, because you just made my point for me. You just said Lamar Jackson is leading the league when it comes to rushing from the quarterback position. They need Lamar Jackson to do that in order to be the best team in the AFC and have the record to prove it. Cleveland doesn't need Deshaun Watson to be their leading rusher. Lamar Jackson got 5 rushing touchdowns. They need him to be special not only as a passer, they need him to be special as a runner. The Cleveland Browns don't need that from Deshaun Watson in order to win football games. And that's why in this particular matchup, that Lamar has to do more than Deshaun.
Baltimore needs Lamar to be Lamar. Cleveland needs Deshaun Watson to be a damn quarterback again. That's what they need. That's what they need. Because I'm looking at Purdy right now. 2-3 versus teams 500 or better this season. 3 TDs, 6 interceptions during this 3-game losing streak, okay? When leading, check this out, Mike T, you'll appreciate this. When leading, Brock Purdy completes 69% of his passes, 12 touchdowns, just 1 interception, a 114.3 passer rating. When trailing, it plummets to 64%, 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and a passer rating that goes from 114 to 87. I'm looking at Brock Purdy, and I have no questions about Christian McCaffrey. I got no questions about that stud that is Deebo Samuel. I got no questions about George Kittle. I get all of that. I understand it, okay? And I certainly don't have a question about the play calling of a Mike Shanahan. But when you look at a Brock Purdy, lack of arm strength, yes, he can make some of the requisite throws, but he doesn't have a rifle of an arm. We all get that. Bart Scott, you've told me that on numerous occasions. I'm looking at him, particularly when pressure is applied to him. How does he respond under that level of duress? I'm imagining teams that you're going to go against in the postseason, they're going to be able to apply pressure to the quarterback. I got no questions about San Francisco defense. I think they'll step up. Trent Williams being there, the best left tackle in the business, I got it. Your running game's going to be there. I understand it, okay? But at some point in time, I got to look at Brock Purdy, and I got to say, as much as I believe in this brother, as good as he was up to one point, this 3-game losing streak has really exposed some things about him. We can't ignore that. We got to take that into consideration, and we have to at least ask ourselves, while there are no questions about anybody else, are you sure about him?
I'm absolutely sure about him, and here's why. He has 5 interceptions this year, guys. Yeah. All 5 was when Deebo Samuel was not on the field. And they'll get back to long handoffs to McCaffrey, Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle. He does not have to drive the ball down the field. And Stephen A., I totally understand what you're saying about the disparity when they have the lead or when they're behind. But the way they're built, they can pass to score and run to win. And I think if the question was, are you sold on the Niners? One of the many reasons I am is they got Chase Young. And now the wave of defensive linemen to close out games, they don't need Brock Purdy to drive the ball down the field like other teams do, because now they can get after the passer, which for them, they were actually struggling a little bit. So I think Chase Young actually plays to the strength of Brock Purdy, and your stats actually, to me, suggest getting Chase Young was really not only helping their defense, but making Brock Purdy a heck of a lot more efficient.
By the way, I mistakenly said Mike Shanahan. I meant Kyle Shanahan, of course.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We know what you meant. But
okay.
you also made my point for me when you talk about when pressured. The reason why he's pressured in every one of those highlights that you guys showed is because Trent Williams wasn't there. So we know that the pressure won't be there, and they can also slide the protection away from Trent Williams when he's there, right? So you look at this, he's under duress, of course. You know, he was a 7th-round pick for a reason, right? But he's able, when Trent Williams is there, to go through his progressions, and he's able to get to his first reads. The problem is, what we discovered is the fact that he can't go through and process and go to his second and third reads, and teams are taking away those throws behind the linebackers because they know that they can't run the ball efficiently without Trent Williams.
You know,